I'm Michelle, and we're going to talk about how I and you can use mindfulness, compassion, and connection to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. Hi, I'm Michelle. This week we're talking about repairing after a rupture with your kiddo. And before we get into today's show, I wanted to remind you that I'm going to be hosting a free live webinar on January 22nd, 4 steps to building the calm, connected home you long for. And I will be giving you a free parenting reflection journal. It's a 5 minute check-in on the days that you want to, that helps you kind of stay focused in where you want to be going with your parenting and helps you remember all of the things that are going well, because oftentimes we forget. So, I help parents who want to parent peacefully to foster strong relationships with their kiddos and at times find it really hard. When my kids were small, I found myself so overwhelmed and burnt out that not only did I struggle with responding peacefully, calmly, or playfully, that I got caught in an awful yelling pattern, followed by overwhelming shame, because yelling was the last thing that I wanted to do. So now let's talk about how I and you can use the science of mindfulness and self-compassion to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. So today I'm going to be talking about a story from my memory castle where I should have walked away, but I didn't. So I had to make a repair. One evening, my son just seemed off, as you know, our kids, we all have off days, right? I was asking him about homework, and he started getting grumpy about homework and school and pretty much everything. And part of me noticed, okay, he doesn't seem like himself. He doesn't seem okay. And another part of me, and I also felt like, okay, he's off. He needs some compassion. He needs some grace. And another part of me felt frustrated. Like, I think that's always interesting when part of us can feel one way and another part of us can feel this other way at the same time. That frustrated part of me was thinking things like, "You're so rude, and I'm just asking you about your day and your homework, and why are you giving me such a hard time?" And I remember having the thought, I'm getting hooked. I'm starting to feel agitated. I'm starting to feel triggered. I'm getting a little short and a little edgy. I should probably just walk away and just come back in a little while. But do you think I walked away? No, not this time. I do walk away a lot, but I didn't walk away this time. It happens. And I continued down the path of meeting his edginess with my edginess, and things just kind of like got more tense as they do. And then until we were arguing. And I don't exactly remember what I said, but it probably was something like, "I don't know what's going on with you, but you need to get your stuff done," in that kind of short, edgy, loud, just on the verge of yelling tone. I think that's the one of those scenarios where the person on the receiving end always feels like they're being yelled at, even though the person that's doing the talking is like, "I wasn't yelling," because we don't mean to be yelling. So at some point, things settled down, and I heard about why he was actually having a bad day. And I remember feeling bad and wishing that I had been more patient, because, like, there was a reason that he was off. And, like, we're human, we're not always going to have a great day, right? But the good news was I had the opportunity, don't you love that word? Opportunity to model repairing. I mean, honestly, I have had to do a lot of repairing. So after a while, it did get easier. And I let him know, you know what? I'm sorry. I was short and edgy with you earlier. You deserve to be treated respectfully. So let's talk about the ingredients for a good repair, because I'm really curious about, how does that sound to you? Um, and thinking about, what do you want and need when someone apologizes to you? When does it feel genuine? When does it actually mean something to you? And when does it not, right? So, what are the ingredients for a good repair? One ingredient is that you only repair when you're actually ready to repair, meaning that you're calm. So it might not be until the next day. You wait until you're really ready. And you're not very likely to get angry and hijacked by the big emotions all over again. In fact, you don't even need to go back into you're so ready that you don't even need to go back into whatever it is that you were angry about. You're just apologizing for what you did. So that's one thing. You only do it when you're ready. Another ingredient is what do you expect or when you do not expect or need an apology in response? So if you cannot go and say, I'm sorry I did XYZ without kind of like, uh-huh, and yeah, all right, so are you going to apologize to me now? Uh-huh. Yeah, what can you tell me what you did wrong here? No, no, no. That is a signal that you're not ready for to apologize, right? Because you're needing something in response. You're needing an apology, you're needing them to own their part, and that is not this isn't about them. This is just about you and cleaning up your side of the street. So one is when you're ready, meaning you're calm and less likely to get hijacked again. Two, you do not expect or need an apology in response. Three, you are just there to clean up your side of the street. You're just there to say, I'm sorry, I did XYZ, I got loud, I yelled, said whatever it was. I'm sorry I did that. That wasn't okay. That's it. You're just there to clean up your side of the street. And four, you do not need to justify why you did what you did, meaning you don't say things like, well, I wouldn't have gotten angry if you hadn't done da 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 da. Or, well, I'm sorry, but it was because you kept doing blah, 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 blah. This is not an apology. This is, it kind of negates the apology, right? If you think about if someone apologizes to you and then they start to say what you did wrong, doesn't feel very genuine, right? So let's go through these again. One, and a great ingredients for apologies. You only do it when you're ready, meaning that you're calm and you're less likely to get hijacked all over again. Two, you do not expect or need an apology or anything else in response. You're just there to clean up your side of the street. That's number three. And number four, you do not need to justify why you did what you did. You just own it. I did X and it wasn't okay. I'm sorry. So let's talk about when you can't apologize, because of course it sounds great, but the reality is it's not always that easy. We are human. So let's talk about the reasons that we get stuck, the very good reasons that we get stuck. Sometimes we can't apologize because we feel so guilty or ashamed. It's kind of ironic. We feel so badly about what we did that we can't apologize because it forces us to have to look at it. And when we feel ashamed, we don't want to look at it. Um, so this could be the case if you shut down and if you don't want to think about it, if you just want to forget about it and move on, it might be a cue to you that you're feeling really guilty or maybe even ashamed about what you did. You might get really sad or you might like withdraw a little bit emotionally, like not smile as much or be engaged as much. Like those are all cues that you might be feeling really guilty or more than likely ashamed of what you did. And one great tool that is helpful here is we can use a Hawaiian poem called Ho'oponopono that helps us acknowledge the regret within ourselves first. And so you can imagine your child happy or a nice moment with your child, even maybe they're even sleeping peacefully, and then you repeat this poem. So this is something that you would do by yourself on your own. You could be with them, but you're just saying it in your head. You're not actually saying it out loud. The poem is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you just keep repeating it. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And the way that this helps is sometimes, we might not be ready to say something without getting hijacked by our emotions again. We might feel too guilty. We might really want them to say what we need them to say. So this gives us a way to kind of look at, be sorry and be genuinely sorry and thinking about them and owning our part without having to engage with our kiddo. So we can do this in our imagination, and it might help create some openness to possibly being able to say it out loud to them. I'm sorry I did X. That wasn't okay. So again, the poem is, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And that's the Hawaiian poem Ho'oponopono. And you can repeat this over and over until you feel calmer, less harsh, less critical with yourself, less harsh with yourself. And it might help you to be able to apologize out loud. Another possible block to apologizing is being stuck in blame. They shouldn't have talked to me that way. How dare they? I'm not apologizing. They were worse than me, right? I can really anticipate this as kids get older. But, young kids can be pretty, crappy to us too. So could be, younger kids or like that preteen, teenager years. So your anger is reasonable and valid. Maybe they did treat you really badly, and maybe they were really rude. So let yourself be angry, not towards them, but just like it's reasonable to be angry. Then consider what other deeper, more underlying feelings possibly are there along with the anger? Maybe it's feeling helpless. Maybe it's feeling like your kiddo doesn't see your good intentions. Like they see you as kind of the enemy in that moment. They see you as mean or harsh or awful or whatever, who knows what they said. Um, but they don't see that you're trying to help them, that you're there and saying things and trying to help guide them because you love them and care about them. And it's really painful when we don't feel like our kiddos see our good intentions, when we feel like they're pushing us away, or they see us as the enemy, or they think we're out to get them. That's really, really painful. We want to know that our kiddos see our good intentions. We want to know that they know that we're trying to help them, that we love them, that we care about them. And so those could be some underlying feelings kind of like fueling that anger. So just ask yourself, what else might be happening for me? I'm angry at them. I'm so angry at them. Is there anything else that I'm feeling along with this anger? Consider how it was for you as a kid. How would it have been for you if your parent would have apologized, even if you had messed up too? How would that have helped you? And if your parent did apologize, how was that for you when your parent apologized? Did they apologize in a way that was helpful and reconnecting and repairing? Did they not? How did that feel? Um, how would it have helped you if your parent would have been able to apologize? What would that have been like for you? So just some things to think about when we're stuck in anger and blame. A third possible block is if I apologize, it feels weak. I'm the parent and I need to be in charge. So that is reasonable because, we are the parent. And so there is a level of like us needing to be the one in charge. And I would like to throw out there that modeling apologizing and genuinely apologizing is far from weak. It's actually really difficult to apologize in a really genuine way that's just keeping our side of the street clean. And consider the people in your life. Like, think of someone who can't or won't apologize to you. How do you feel about them? Do you see them as strong, or do you see them as stuck, rigid, stubborn, frustrating? How do you see them? And think about the people who do apologize to you. Do they seem weak? And I'm talking about the genuine apologies, like the ones that feel good. Or do they seem like balanced? Do you really appreciate their apology? I'm guessing that you probably do not see them as weak. And I'm guessing you don't see those others that don't apologize as strong and in charge. It's not how it feels on the receiving end, right? So the reality is our kids are more likely to do what we do, not what we tell them to do, right? So we can tell them to apologize until we're blue in the face and we can, you know, point out all the benefits. But when we model apologizing, we're modeling repair. We're modeling what they want, we want them to do with us, right? We are owning our part. We are prioritizing our relationship over that with them over our pride. And we are modeling really amazing behaviors, really positive emotional connection. We are modeling so many positive things there that it is far from weak. But that feeling is reasonable. That concern is reasonable. So it's helpful to just kind of acknowledge that and then have some other possible considerations. And maybe you journal out, like, this is what I'm afraid is going to happen if I apologize. And this is what I imagine. And maybe you also write what could happen in a positive way if I apologized. Some parents say to me that they worry it's too late, that they've already ruined their relationship with their kid. And I would argue that it's never too late. Even if your kid is 40 or 60, which probably your kids are not that age, but imagine if your parent genuinely apologized to you as an adult for something and they showed that they deeply cared about you, they cared about the impact that whatever had happened had on you. Imagine how powerful that would be for you as an adult. Maybe your parent has done that. How did that feel for you? The thing is that when our kids are young, when they're at home with us living in the house, like we are their safe haven. They need to know that they're loved and accepted by us. And when there's a rupture, all of that comes into question. They most likely feel like that you're mad at them, that you're not happy with them. They feel like maybe they're not doing enough or they can never get anything right with you. So they're worried about their connection with us. And when we repair, we are reestablishing and strengthening our bond. We're saying to them, I'm here for you no matter what. I love you no matter what. That is unconditional love. You can count on me. You can feel safe with me, even when we have a rupture. Those are some powerful messages to send our kiddos. So, yes, it sucks when we mess up. It feels crappy. Ugh, I wish that I could never, mess up again. But there are some positives that we can repair and that it actually is really strengthening to our relationship and our bonds with our kiddos. So there's a whole section about this in the yelling to connecting group because the reality is ruptures happen in relationships. It's normal. And sometimes we as parents struggle with repairing for there's probably many other reasons that I didn't talk about in this show. And maybe you guys can email me other things that come up for you. But the reality is there's lots of good reasons that it's hard for us to repair. And it's really helpful for us to figure out what is happening within us that makes it difficult and what do we need to support ourselves and to so that we can acknowledge our feelings, but also make the repair that we want to make with our kiddos because ruptures are going to happen. So don't forget, there's a free live webinar, 4 steps to building the calm, connected home that you are longing for this January 22nd. And I'd love to see you there because I love to see your all's faces. I love to connect with you in person. That is so fun rather than staring at a green little dot on my computer. And don't forget, you can also jump on the wait list for the Yelling to Connecting group. That's going to be the welcome call is the first week of February. And you don't have to do this parenting thing alone, right? We can support each other through it. So this week's play idea, King of the Castle. Kids love this one. It's on, well, it could be anywhere, I guess. It could be on a couch, but on a bed works really well. And the kiddo's on the bed and they're the king of the castle and the castle's their bed. And then you try to get on the castle too. Maybe you try to capture them. Maybe you try to steal something off the bed. All kinds of different play ideas can unfold here, and let your kiddo be in charge because they'll probably start making up rules and they'll probably say, no, you can't do that, or no, you can only touch me with one hand, or you can't grab me, or all these things, which is really great because it's empowering for kids. It's connecting. It helps them offload stress. It's connecting for us, and we can keep it really short. If you're like, oh my gosh, ugh, like that sounds like a lot, just say to yourself, I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. I'll play King of the Castle for 3 minutes. That's all I can manage today. And of course, some days not at all, right? But to me, it makes it, I can do it if I'm like, I'm only going to do this for a few minutes, and then it's more manageable. I just want to thank you so much for listening. I love that you guys are here. I so appreciate it. The light in me sees the light in you. Be well. A reminder, this content is intended for educational purposes only and should not be used as a replacement for private psychotherapy services. Compassionate Heart Mindful Life does not provide psychotherapy services in any capacity. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist, and this is not therapy and should not be a substitute for mental health treatment. If you need mental health treatment, please find a qualified professional in your area. Thanks again for listening. Be well.